ophthalmic ninjas here. And mentor is Dr. Sushil Dauja, Professor GDMC Dehradun. And mentors are Nitesh and Divya. Divya, go ahead.
Good afternoon, class. So in previous class we discussed about the etiology and the clinical features of fungal ulcer. So out of it we have to recall that what are the main clots about it and how do we examine. So we think and examine in the anatomical order only because it helps in primary prevention. Okay. So moving on to the specific management, we'll first talk about the investigation and then treatment. So in investigations, we'll take a deep corneal ulcer scraping from the margins of the ulcer and send it for direct microscopy. That is most common is 10% KOH. It has a sensitivity of around 72 to 91%. It is easy to interpret. It is cheap. It is easily available and quick. And then we can send it for gram staining, Gimsa, lactophenol blue. Then we can send the sample for fungal culture in sheep blood agar or Savarot dextrose agar. Which has a positive culture result of around 52 to 68%, and growth starts initially within 72 hours, and but we have to wait till 7 days before we label the culture as negative. Then the newer diagnostic modalities are also there, like ASOCT, polymerase chain reaction, confocal microscopy, and keratectomy and biopsy. ASOCT, because it is non-invasive procedure nowadays, quite commonly available, so we can see the depth of the lesion, we can see the margins, so we can classify it. Also Harminder Singh Dua sir has also given us a barcode sign which is seen in extensive corneal vascularity in fungal ulcer. And then moving on to the treatment part quickly, so we have medical therapy. That is the topical antifungal agent should be given. Most commonly first line drug is eye drop netamycin 5%, which should be given 1 hourly during the daytime and 2 hourly during the night time round the clock. And it should be associated with broad spectrum antibiotics, cycloplegics and plus minus anti-glaucoma. The eye should be examined twice daily. If the infiltrates are resolving, we can taper down the dosing to 2 hourly. And if the keratitis is worsening, so we have to add topical amphotericin B in it. We have some synergistic drugs like amphotericin B and flucytosine. And what are the limitations? We have poor ocular penetration, poor bioavailability in topical setup. So the mycotic ulcer treatment trial was there, which was held in 2013, which stated that natamycin was significantly better clinically and microbiological outcomes than voriconazole in filamentous ulcers, fungal ulcers. Then we can add on systemic antifungals in conditions like which are very large ulcers, severe deep keratitis, scleritis, endophthalmitis, and which can be added in prophylactic treatment for penetrating keratoplasty. It should be given for 6 to 8 weeks. The most common is oral voriconazole, 200 mg twice daily. The mycotic ulcer treatment trial stated that in filamentous ulcer, voriconazole has no significant effect. Most common and the topic of debate is role of corticosteroid, which is a double-edged sword. So we have to give it initially, because it decreases the size of the corneal opacity and can hamper the visual outcome. It should be given when the epithelial defect is completely healed and the margins are fuzzy, that is within 7 to 10 days. Intrastromal and intracameral amphotericin B can also be injected in recalcitrant ulcers. So indication of improvement is that reduced pain, fuzzy margins, reepithelialization, surgical treatment options like debridement, biopsy, therapeutic keratoplasty can also be given, and newer modalities like PDAT and PAC are there. So take home message is that KOH is the most important investigation in our management because it is easily available, can be done in any PHC, CHC centers. Then newer modalities, ASOCT we can also use, and then if it is, we can use early steroids also when the reepithelialization occur to decrease the size of the corneal opacity. So I hope it helps in management, and standing on this side of the podium makes us realize that without teachers life has no class. Thank you.
Just that I don't think we have time for questions, agreed, but it is completely inaccurate using topical steroids. Please don't use them for fungal ulcers. You'll end up with disaster. And second point is that OCT doesn't help you in diagnosis. You can't diagnose that it's a fungal ulcer. So that also, it's not a new tool in diagnosis. It gives some additional features, you don't need it. In management of corneal ulcer, I think you covered a lot of ground. but not in terms of, so it suffers when you have a lot of content, then you're not very accurate. I wish you had just put only 4-5 points, but in great detail and more accuracy. So good effort. Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that for ASOCT, it acts as an adjunct for monitoring the patient. For serial follow-ups, we can see the size of the depth decreasing, reepithelialization.
You can see by simple slit lamp examination also. Again, I'm saying that it doesn't give you, so you don't have to have an OCT to manage fungal ulcers.